yogis, welcome to your Maya flow practice with me today. Today's practice is pure Prithvi. Prithvi is the element of earth, and we're going to be working quite closely with the earth today. So feel free to set up your space so that you have space either side of the mat, surrounding the mat as we'll be working around all edges of the mat. We're going to begin today towards the back end of the mat with a Prithvi mudra. If you would like to join me in a hero pose, your hero pose, like your Virasana preparation, you're seated upon the knees, upon the shins. And as you take your seat, connect the big toes together at the back, but allow there to be a little bit of space between the ankles. So you don't want to be forcing the ankles to roll in so you're elevated upon the heels. Allow them to begin softening and surrendering. Allow your heels to create a cradle of support for you. If you have any ankle problems or knee problems and this is really quite uncomfortable, feel free to take a cork block or a foam block and just seat yourself upon it. Set it up beneath your sit bones is what I was trying to say there. From your comfortable seat, yogis, we're going to be taking this Prithvi mudra. My words today. Your 5 elements, each of them have a correlating connection and pressure point upon each of the fingers. And when we work with Prithvi, we're working with the ring fingers. So we'll be placing our Agni, our thumb, upon the tip of our ring fingers to stimulate and to ignite that element of Prithvi within us. So it looks a little bit like a rock star sign. You'll have your pinky finger, your middle finger, and your index finger elevated. And your elbows tucked in beside you, and both the left and the right hand for this one elevated to the sky. Agni, your thumb, connected to your Prithvi, your ring finger. Palms open away from you, exposed. Elevated and strong, we settle into our seat and we begin settling into the breath. Yogis, let's draw a deep inhale through the nose and release the breath out of the nose. And as you continue channeling the breath through the nostrils on both the inhale and the exhale, we begin connecting to this element of earth via the cooling, calming sensation of our breath. And drawing the inhale, we elongate the spine and feel light and lifted, yet rooted and grounded at the same time. As you exhale, that softening and that surrendering down into this hero's pose allows us to feel into that connection and that opening upon the feet. And you'll be taking a few more rounds here, so begin elongating the breath as well, both the inhale, and mirror and match that exhale. Already beginning to notice that softening of self, the physical self, the energetic self, the emotional self as you arrive upon your mat today. Yogi's working with the purity of the earth. We're creating these connections via our breath to self, but also via our physical self to the earth beneath us today too. Take your final breath here, settled in your seat. And then gently blink open the eyes. We're going to take a cross, maintaining that mudra for just a moment longer across the shoulders. And that cross that we create at our heart center, this is here to lock in and to connect to our intention for practice today. Setting your intention and allow it to be one where you know an area of your life, maybe yourself, maybe people that surround you, someone that you devote or like to devote your practice to today that you know needs a little bit of this settling, this centering, the beautiful and strong qualities that the earth element brings to us, the qualities of Prithvi. And as we feel rooted, grounded, and connected to our breath and to ourself, we invite that to flow through our body with our flow today, blinking open the eyes with your intention firmly set. We release that Prithvi mudra, release the cross of the arms and sweep it to the sky. Let's interlace the fingers, open the palms and release the spine, release the palms as if stretching and waking up for the first time today. As you exhale, we'll spread our wings nice and wide, connect the fingertips to the mat beside you. And we're going to rock forwards into a tabletop position, getting out of those shins. Let's extend one leg at a time to the back of the mat and open through the feet, the calves. Going to be relying quite heavily upon the feet today as we really feel into that connection that we create beneath the tips of the toes and the soles of the feet. So let's begin settling into those feet now. I'm going to slide back and take a rocking motion to open through the top of the feet. We draw the knees just a little to elevate off the mat and then rock back into the feet. We'll take that just a couple of times. And maybe initially it feels quite stiff, quite tight, quite sore, and that's okay. You've got a few little rocks and rolls to settle in here. Press into the fingertips and press the mat away from you as you draw a little more height. Let's take 2 more. Pressing into the mat, draw the knees nice and high open, top of the feet. 1 more round before we release, knees nice and high. And settle in, draw forwards, tabletop once more. And this time we're going to tuck the toes and find the balls of the feet upon the mat as you send the hips to the sky. Settle into the heels and pedal out, little tiny short down dog sensation here. We're not quite as wide as what we normally be, and that's okay. We're not here for long. This is just our little release. As you take that little rock and roll, maybe you take your feet a little wider now, feeling the feet distance to be more like shoulder width apart. We're going to roll over into the tops of the feet and the knees once more. Slide it back, just the one opening for the knees now and the tops of the feet. Settle into the knees, rock back into the toes, pressing into the mat. We're now going to draw the knees from the mat. Little rock and roll here. Slowly finding your way to a Malasana type shape. But this rock and roll is eventually going to progress us to find the heel settling in upon the mat. And so as you progress with this rock and roll, maybe initially the heels are quite elevated, but with each rock you take, I want you to settle back and find a little bit of trust, a little bit of balance. And it certainly takes both. Fighting that fear of feeling into falling. We're going to take it nice and slow though, and maybe feeling those heels connect. Maybe like me, a bit of momentum required to draw back out. We'll take it once more. And we're rocking out of those heels. We're going to put that all together. Knees connect. One release first. Short little down dog from your tabletop. Toes are tucked. Press into the toes, the hands, and draw into that tabletop one breath. Releasing through the hamstrings, the calves with the exhale. Let's roll over the tops of the toes. Knees connect. Release to the tops of the feet. Knees are shoulder width apart. Feet are shoulder width apart. Hands slide back with that connection upon the mat. Knees to rise. And slide forwards, tabletop position, tuck the toes. Press the mat away from you, rock back your Malasana type shape. From here, yogis, we're going to take it into that Malasana and find the hands in prayer for a moment. Lifting out of the spine and finding some length and creating a little bit of space between the vertebrae. We're going to find the fingertips connecting in front of you to the mat and take the hips to the sky. Your first forward fold. If you took your feet out on an angle, feel free to align them now with the outer edges of the mat. Your first forward fold. Give yourself a beautiful big hug and squeeze, and then ripple the spine, hands to shins, halfway lift. Let's take that twice more. Exhale, peel the belly down to the thigh, and then peel it from the thigh as you draw the crown towards the front of the room, sit bones towards the back of the room. One more ripple. And pressing into that halfway lift. And then sinking back down into your seat. And find prayer in your Malasana. One more moment. Rolling over, maybe now hands free, or maybe you stay in that prayer. Knees connect, tips of the toes, and now to the tops of the feet. Draw out of the knees. Oh, got a nice little crack and pop then. Maybe hands free. Tuck the toes, rising from the knees, back into that Malasana. Ripple halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, belly down to thigh. Spread your wings, take it nice and wide. Sweep the sides of the room, interlace the fingers. Open the chest, finding your first extended mountain. We release, exhale, and take a swan dive. And find the hands in prayer, halfway lift. Toes wide. Sink into that Malasana. Rock it forward, staying in prayer. Knees meet the mat. Untuck the toes. Find the tops of the feet. So we're going to take this 6 times in total. That's once right the way through. Feeling into any variations you like in terms of the angles of the feet to be able to find that Malasana shape. And then we're staying nice and low from there. Let's find our prayer yogis. As hands-free as possible, but feel free to connect fingertips if you need. 5 rounds. Inhale, elevate the knees. Rock it forwards, tuck the toes. Find your Malasana, hips to the sky, hands to shins, halfway lift. Exhale, ripple belly to thigh. Inhale, sweep wide to rise. Interlace. Open the chest. Spread your wings, take your dive, and find your prayer pose with your halfway. Toes out if you like that for Malasana. And take your seat. Rock it forwards. Knees connect. Doing so well. Feeling into that flow and finding a little more pace now. And the more momentum we flow through with here, often the more fluid we feel. And with ease and grace, we find our movement, working with your breath. Swan dive, hands in prayer. Sink in your Malasana. Roll it over the knees. Release. And draw the knees to the sky. Take your tuck. Draw it back. Halfway lift. Woo, how's the balance? Ripple the belly. Inhale, sweep to rise. Interlace and open. Swan dive. Halfway lift. Sink it into your seat, rocking into the knees, tops of the feet. Let's take it 3 more times. Finding a little more pace, a little more flow. Setting up that fiery connection that we create. Open the chest. Spread your wings, take your dive, find prayer. Sink in. Trust, balance, find that momentum. 2 rounds. Hips to the sky. Opening the joints, the ankles, the knees. And finding some warmth through the spine. Yogis, let's take our final round together. Sink into your Malasana. Rock it into the knees, tops of the feet. Lifting out of the knees. And tuck the toes. Find your yogic squat. Ripple halfway lift. Exhale, unravel, forward fold. Sweep and rise. interlace the hands, open the chest, the heart, spread your wings and take your bow. Hands to heart. Take the feet nice and wide, yogis, as we sink down into our Malasana squat. We settle into stillness for a moment and then find a figure 8 as we take a little rock and roll side to side here. We've been working through one range up and down the mat, and we're playing today to explore all parts of the pelvis, opening the hips in all directions. And as we're staying nice and low, we want to create that same sensation of spaciousness throughout the entire hip. So as we've worked up and down the mat, settle into stillness with that little rock and roll. And allow the knees now to drape either side of the mat as you take a walk and hang the heart and hang the head through center, through midpoint. You're going to explore the sides of the pelvis just a little more as you take a walk off to the right side. You want to create a connection here with your right knee into the back of your right tricep. Now, if you're not quite warm enough yet to sink all the way down into the heels, feel free to draw out of the heels just a little if you need. And creating that connection with the right fingertips tenting upon the earth, and then sweeping that left arm to draw into your first spinal twist, gazing over the left arm, the left fingertips. Stay one full breath. And drawing it back, find yourself in prayer centered. Malasana, lift out of the spine. Take it to the other side, release the breath, release the prayer. And left fingertips connect, left elbow and shoulder pressing into the inside of that left thigh. Peel it open on the right, spinal twist. Stay one breath. Drawing back to heart center. And find your prayer, elevate the spine. And let's take fingertips to the mat, rolling over the toes, finding the knees upon the mat. Let's come back to that tabletop position, resetting yourself in alignment. Hips should feel quite nice and warm now. And from your tabletop position, we'll take a cat-cow. Sink the belly, take the gaze to the sky. As you exhale and draw chin into chest, open through the back of the heart as we round out through the entire back body. Yogis, as you find yourself back in neutral, we tuck the toes. We're going to find our first full range down dog now. Plank pose, your transition as you release the knees from the mat. Take a breath. Hips to the sky, your down dog. With all that extra space, as you now take your pedal of the heels rocking out side to side, load completely into one foot and then the other, and it should feel a whole lot more spacious than the first little short round and ranges that we took. As you settle into stillness, we invite the heels to the mat. Yogis, we're going to take a walk. Take the gaze between the hands and take your time. Each foot one by one, finding its way step by step towards the top of the mat. But today, give yourself some space as we're sinking in our little warm-up rounds and that flow. With our first round of flow, yogis, hands to the shins, we halfway lift. Take a breath. Exhale, melt belly upon the thigh. Release and sweep the sky. Picking up from where we left off, interlace the fingers, open the chest, the heart, and take your dive. We find hands in prayer halfway. Hands free, we sink down into that Malasana, roll over the knees, releasing back onto the tops of the feet. Take that little release of the knees as you draw them nice and high. And tuck the toes, rocking back into that Malasana. And yogis, from here, that sweep that we took, we're going to be taking that halfway lift, finding hands upon the shins, taking your halfway lift, but find a pause here. As you exhale and ripple down and connect the belly to the thigh, we take a deep bend in the knee and find the hands connecting to the mat and palms connected. Step it all the way back with the right and sink down into your runner's lunge. First runner's lunge, so we'll take a pulsing sensation to open through the front of that pelvis. And settle into stillness as you frame that left foot here in your runner's lunge. We're going to take the left hand inside the left foot, rotate the back foot, hands both stay connected here as you find your body sending via hands sweeping the mat all the way to the back. We're going to sink in to a Skandasana type shape. Left toes elevate, hands stay connected, keep the back foot, front foot, now the back flexed as you rotate over the balls of the foot to find your runner's lunge at the back of the mat. Left hand is planted, right hand draws to rise for an easy twist. Take an inhale, reaching to the sky. As you exhale, we're going to deeply open the pelvis, rocking onto the outer blade of both feet. Drawing the reach and the extension through that right arm to the front of the mat. Inhale, take it overhead. Right hand connects to the mat, and that malasana that we took earlier, we're now going to be taking one-sided. So we're in a Skandasana type shape. Your left leg is extended and flexed. Your right fingertips connect and tent. Inhale, open the spine, right hand stays connected. As you plant that left foot, sweep the mat and draw all the way back to the top in your runner's lunge. And from here, we're going to be taking a rise, lifting out of that right hand and finding a spinal twist here. Left hand connects to that right hamstring. Exhale, windmill both hands, frame the left foot and step it back. Let's take our first flow. Knees connect, lower the chest, the heart to 8 points. Ripple through center your baby cobra. Press into the hands and we ripple back to our balasana. Rebounding out. Tabletop position, we rise. And tuck the toes, plank pose, hips to the sky. Settle in, down dog, one breath. Final little walk yogis as we pedal the heels and ever so slowly, one foot at a time, finding ourselves toward the top of the mat, creating space. Feet shoulder width apart, hands to the shins, halfway lift. Exhale, ripple down. Sweep the hands wide. This should start to feel familiar. We're taking it to the other side. Interlace and open the chest, the heart. Swan dive. Find hands in prayer halfway. Sink down into your malasana. Rolling over, find the knees connecting. Tops of the toes, we rock it back. And find that little rock and roll action as you draw back to your malasana. Halfway lift, hands to shins. Exhale, ripple down, hands connect. This time left foot steps all the way back. Your runner's lunge as you drop into open through that left hip flexor, little pulsing sensation. Currently framing that right foot. Settle into stillness. That right hand draws inside the right foot. So you're out nice and wide, lizard lunge style. I'm going to rotate on that back foot, sink the hips low, and ever so slowly take a walk to the back of the mat. Right toes rise in a flex state. We rotate on the ball to find our easy twist. Right hand plants. Left hand to the sky as you twist and take that rotation. Stay one breath. As you exhale, finding outer blades of both feet. Sink into the hip and opening deeply into the outer part of that left hip. We extend our reach towards the front of the room. Inhale, sweep it overhead. Left hand connects and we find our Skandasana. So the right toes draw to rise. Your left hand connects, tenting fingertips. Peel it open in your Ardha half Malasana yogic squat. Twist here. Left hand stays connected as you slide all the way to the top of the mat. You're in that easy twist shape. We get light through the left fingertips and we rise, windmill the arms. Right hand runs the length of that left leg as you take your beautiful twisted revolved warrior. As we salute to the sun, exhale, windmill the hands. Let's step it back with the right. Take a breath. We'll drop the knees once more and slowly lower. Exhale. Knees, chest and chin, your 8 points ripple through. Your baby cobra. And send it back. Balasana. Inhale, draw to rise, tabletop. Tuck the toes, your plank pose. Hips to the sky, down dog. Now we are staying with the earth element today, and so we are finding ourselves playing nice and low around the earth, but we are going to find some height, some flight upon it too. So playing with a bunny hop today, nice and soft through the knees, finding yourselves towards the top of the mat. We inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, sink the belly. Spread your wings and rise. Inhale, interlace the fingers. Yogis, you have now the foundations of your flow to settle it in. Release and swan dive. We're going to take that a couple more times each side. Hands into prayer. Exhale, sink into your malasana. Roll over the knees. Release the toes. When we take our flows a few times through, we feel into the magic halfway lift. Exhale, ripple down, hands connect. Right foot steps back. Sink in, runner's lunge. Left hand inside the left foot. Rotate the back to connect. Straighten out that front and slowly slide it all the way back of the mat. Left hand connects in your runner's lunge. Easy twist. Right to the sky, take a breath. Exhale, rotate on outer blades of both feet. Reach towards the front of the room. Inhale, we rebound and rise. Right hand connects, tent the fingertips, peel it open. Your half malasana in the right, your skandasana in the left. Spinal twist. Right hand stays connected. Sweep it back, top of the mat, sink the hips. Get light through the right and draw to rise. Saluting to the sun, your reverse sun warrior in revolved position. Windmill the arms. This time we're going to step it back and take a full flow from plank. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, ripple through. We'll take a cobra, still soft through the elbows, opening the chest and the heart. Send it back, your balasana. Rebound out, tabletop. Tuck the toes. Your plank pose, your transition. Hips to the sky, down dog, take a breath. Soft through the knees, bunny hop at top of the mat. Hands to shins halfway. Exhale, ripple down. Sweep those hands wide and draw to the sky. Let's take that to the right. Interlace and open. Exhale, sweep swan dive. Hands to prayer. Sink in malasana, roll over the knees. Releasing onto the tops of the feet. And take your tuck, sink it back. Hips to the sky, hands to shins, halfway. Exhale, ripple down, belly to the thighs. Fingertips find the mat. Left foot steps back, sink the hips. Right hand inside the right foot, rotate and slide it on back of the mat. Stay low. Right hand connects. Let's take that easy twist. One breath, your inhale. Your exhale sets you up, taking the twist, outer blades, both feet. Spiral it overhead. Left hand connects to sink you into the hips. Your skandasana on the right. Tenting the fingertips on the left, we peel it open. Staying nice and low. Left hand stays connected to the earth. Spinal twist, top of the mat. Let's get light through the left and draw to rise. Right hand runs the length of that left hamstring. Windmill the arms. Framing right foot, step it back, take a breath. And find your vinyasa. Lower down chaturanga. Inhale your cobra. Exhale, send it back, balasana. Inhale, rise, tabletop. And tuck the toes, plank pose. Exhale, down dog. Light through the knees, bunny hop. Hands to the shins halfway. You'll take it once more, both sides, yogis. Sweep to rise. Interlace and open. Exhale, swan dive. Hands in prayer, hands free. We sink Malasana. Knees connect. Top of the feet connect. Release the knees. Sink back in, tuck the toes. Take your Malasana. Halfway lift. Exhale, ripple down. Inhale, hands to plant. Right foot steps. Left hand inside the right. Sweep it back of the mat. Your easy twist. Peel it open on the right. One breath. Open, exhale. Inhale, sweep and rise. Your Skandasana in your Ardha Malasana. Opening the heart, sweep that hand on the right, connecting to the mat. Your easy twist, your transition, drawing out of the earth we rise. Exhale, windmill, hands to plant. Step it back, take a breath. Exhale, we lower. Inhale, we rise. Exhale, send hips back towards the heels, your Balasana. Tabletop, tuck the toes, one more round. Let's take it to the other side. Down dog. Soft bunny hop. Hands to shins halfway. Exhale, your ripple. Inhale, sweep to rise. Interlace and open. Let it go, swan dive. Hands to prayer halfway. Exhale, sink into your Malasana. Knees connect. And find the knees releasing. And tuck the toes. Your squat takes you into that halfway lift. Exhale. And the left foot, step it back. Runner's lunge, we sink. Reset the right. Slide it on back of the mat. Your easy twist. Inhale. Cleopatra as we release onto the outer blades, both feet. Inhale, spiral that left. Fingertips connect, we peel it open on the right. Sliding on through top of the mat, set it up, easy twist, take a breath. Let's draw to rise. Windmill the arms, connect, step it back and take your flow, yogis. Let's meet at the back of the mat in your Balasana. Hang tight here, have a couple of breaths. Feel free to hit pause, have a sip of water. With your foundations firmly set, yogis, you have one more layer to add to your flow today. And once you've had your sip of water, you have collected yourself from Balasana. We draw to rise and find your tabletop. Let's tuck the toes, find your plank pose. Send your hips to the sky and down dog. From here, yogis, we're adding straight in. Allow the heels to settle in and connect from your down dog shape. We're going to load into the right, left toes to the sky. Open the hip and find your scorpion as you hang the heel. As you square it off and drive it through giant step, left foot plant, sink the hips just as you've been working with your runner's lunge. But now our peak posture for today, you're going to be driving that right knee in towards the chest to find your flamingo as your transition. Flamingo finds you transitioning via a kick and take a seat. From your seat with that right leg extended, we slide the mat, press into the hands and find a bridge pose, right toes to the sky. Right foot opens to rest upon that left thigh. And we find a figure four. Lift the hips, hang the head. We exhale and take the hips back to the mat. 2 peak postures we're working with today. You're going to rotate that left hand and slide that right foot all the way over, taking that little rock to allow the right foot to meet the earth. We're finding ourselves in a Vasisthasana variation, so a side plank. From here, you're going to press into that right foot, press into that left hand, slide out the left, so you're resting on the outer blade of the left. Your right hand extends overhead, and allow this to feel beautiful, pressing the earth away from you, allowing it to hold you as you release in a beautiful, deep side body stretch. Let's sink it back down, find your seat. And drawing back into that figure 4. We inhale, right toes to the sky, and then sweep them through beneath you. So threading the needle with that right, you draw to a seat. Now we're picking back up from where we left off here, and this one's going to need a bit of momentum. As we rock forwards, we find ourselves in that left foot, kick it back with the right, and you find your runner's lunge. And from there, left toes to the sky, 3-leg dog. Draw through, set it up, and we pick back up from where we left off as you find yourself rotating back of the mat. And take your twist. Cleopatra, you know where you're going here with these ones. And peel it open, Ardha Malasana. Slide it on through, top of the mat, sink the hips. And draw to rise as you take your twist. Exhale, windmill, step it back and find your flow. Inhale, we rise. Maybe you take a full up dog now. And maybe you ripple all the way back for your down dog. Settle in. Let's take it straight away to the other side. Settle into the left, right toes to the sky. Open and find your scorpion. And square it off and drive it through. Right foot plants between the hands. Drop in your runner's lunge, preparing your flamingo. Left knee draws into the chest. Take the tuck. Shoot it on through, kick it out and find your seat. We rebound out, left toes to the sky. And find your figure 4 and lift the hips in your bridge, hang the head. Exhale, take your seat. We rotate that right heel of the hand now and rock to allow the left sole of the foot to meet the mat or the earth beside you. From here, you're going to be lifting and sliding that right foot out to find the outer blade of the right foot. Inhale, Vasisthasana, beautiful expressive side plank. Exhale back into your seat and find your figure 4. Left toes to the sky and thread the needle as you feed that left foot behind the back of that right ankle. From here, that little bit of momentum as you rock forwards, frame that right foot, step it back. You know where you're going from here. Inside the right, sweep it back of the mat. Right hand plants, peel it open on the left. Your Cleopatra. Inhale, we rise. Plant the left. Peel it open, spinal twist. Malasana and Skandasana. Slide at top of the mat, sink the hips. Rebound out and rise, take the twist. Exhale, windmill, hands to plant, step it back and find your flow. Inhale, open the chest. Exhale, send it back down dog. Yogis, take it nice and light through the knees. Bunny hop at top of the mat. Hands to the shins, we halfway lift. Exhale, pour it down. Inhale, sweep to rise. Interlace and open. You have the entirety of your flow. We're putting the whole thing together and closing out with a grand finale. 2 full rounds, both sides, no rest. Feel free at the end to hit pause and keep going with the flow. Let's exhale, swan dive. Hands into prayer halfway. Rolling down through your Malasana onto the knees. Release and find the tops of the feet. And sink it back, Malasana. Your halfway lift, hands to shins. Exhale, belly to sink. Step it all the way back with the right. We drop the hips. And so beautiful, your runner's lunge. Flamingo, right knee draws in. And kick it through and take your seat. Right toes to the sky. Your figure 4 for bridge. Exhale, sink, take your seat. rolling over that left wrist. Vasisthasana, we rise, side plank. Exhale your seat, rock it back. Bridge pose. Right toes to the sky. Take your sweep interlace. Bit of momentum here, flying forwards. Step it back. Left toes, take the rise, kick them out. Step through, sink it in, and find your sweep back of the mat. Easy twist. Cleopatra. Inhale, rise. Ardha Malasana, in Skandasana, take the twist. Slide it on through top of the mat. Rebound out of the right hand, we rise. Salute the sun, exhale, spiral. Step it back and find your flow. Inhale to rise. Exhale, send it back, down dog. Bunny hop at top of the mat. Halfway lift. Exhale, sink the belly. Inhale, sweep the sky, interlace and open. Spread your wings, find your prayer. Halfway lift. Your Malasana, into the knees. Out of the knees and find your squat. Woo! Malasana, we halfway lift. I love it. Exhale, ripple the belly. Hands to the mat. Let's step it all the way back with the left. Your runner's lunge. Draw it in, your flamingo. Sink in and find your seat. Rebound out. Your figure four. Open the hips, the heart. Gaze back of the room. Exhale your seat. Rotate right hand. Find your Vasisthasana as we rise. Exhale, sink back in. And figure four. Your bridge. Left toes to the sky. And feed it through. Thread the needle as you take your seat. Sliding fingertips, top of the mat, we rise and reset. Right toes just for that reset, three-leg dog. And then find your frame once more. Sweep it on through back of the mat. Easy twist. Your Cleopatra. Inhale. Your Malasana. Left hand stays connected to the earth. Slide it on through. Get light through the left and rise. Exhale your windmill. Step it on back and take your flow. Inhale. Roll it over. Find your down dog. Exhale. And soft through the knees. Bunny hop top of the mat. Hands to shins. Halfway lift. Exhale, roll down, reach to rise. You have one more on both sides, yogis. Interlace and open. Release, swan dive. Hands to prayer halfway. Exhale, sink it in Malasana. Find the knees connecting, tops of the feet, feel into that rise. And tuck the toes, take the squat. Hips to the sky, your halfway lift. Exhale, belly to thigh, hands connect to the mat. Right foot steps back. Sink it nice and low. Flamingo to your seat. Rebound, right toes. And figure four, we rise in your bridge. Exhale, sink into your seat. Left hand rotates, rise your Vasisthasana. Exhale, figure four. Inhale, we rise, right toes. Exhale, thread. Bit more momentum this time. It's the last round this side. Sweeping forwards and step it back. That reset as you sweep left toes to the sky, three leg. Stepping back through and slide it on. Super low back of the mat. Easy twist. Cleopatra. Inhale, rise. Sink in your Malasana. Peel it open on the left. Slide it on through top of the mat. Sink the hips. Nice and light through that right hand. We rise, sweeping the sky. Exhale, take your windmill and step it on back. Find your flow. You have one final round to go. And down dog. And soft knees. Let's close out strong, yogis. Hands to the shins, halfway lift. Exhale, belly to thigh. Inhale, sweep to rise. Interlace and open. Swan dive, find your prayer. Sink it deep, your malasana. Knees connect. Find the feet, release the knees. Take your rock and roll. Drawing back, hips high, halfway lift. Belly to the thigh. Fingertips connect. Left foot steps back, sink the hips. Prepare. Set your sights. Flamingo, left knee to the chest and tuck it on through. And drawing left toes to the sky. Last around, hips nice and high, hang the head. Exhale, sink into your seat as you rotate that right hand. We find our pivot, our twist, and find that left foot connecting. Your Vasisthasana, final time. Side plank, beautiful side release. Sink back into your seat. Your figure four, we lift, we rise, left toes to the sky. Feed it on through, thread the needle, your momentum, last time. Sweep it, 3 hands to the mat to frame and step it back. We reset with the right toes to the sky, your 3-leg dog. Step it on through, runner's lunge, and make your way back of the mat. Inhale your twist. Exhale, Cleopatra. Inhale, rise. Sink in, half squat. And your breath to find you top of the mat. Easy twist, light through the left, rise. Spinal twist, right hand down that hamstring. And take the windmill, frame the foot. Step it back, yogis, and take your final flow. Inhale. Exhale, let's sink it back into a balasana. And this round, your balasana. Let's set yourself up so your knees are as wide as the mat. And take your hands nice and wide and allow the forehead to connect to the mat. Settling back in, just 3 rounds of breath, inviting the belly and the heart towards the mat. A counter twist, yogis. And let's draw the gaze to rise just a little, and we'll take a walk off to the right side of the mat, but just as we did in our warm-up round where we were sinking our chest and our arms inside the thigh, we're going to do so here and allow the rib cage and the belly of the right to connect to that right thigh. From here, extend that left arm, and you should already be creating some length from the left wrist all the way through to the left hip. We're going to slide that right side in, sink into the left, and take a gaze over that right shoulder. You can connect that left hand once more to the mat, to the earth. You've got an optional bind with this one. So stay as you are, using the fingertips to draw you into that twist if that's enough. Otherwise, option 2, take the right fingertips to the sky to set yourself up. Take an internal rotation of the shoulder and find the forearm and the back of the hand draped upon the low back. Now you can press into the low back with your right hand, or take a walk with the hand and find a bind. So you're looking to grip the inside of that left thigh. And once you can create that connection, that bind, you can deepen the twist even more wherever you are. Stay full. 2 full breaths, allowing yourself to return to your center. If you let your breath and your flow take you away, and release the bind if you were there, and come back to join us in that tent, and slowly slide that left hand in. And let's find yourself resetting in center. And just draw down to the elbows this time. In your balasana type shape, but from the elbows we find a sphinx type position where the elbows are beneath the shoulders, the hands are nice and wide. You're going to take a little rock and roll, remembering back to that beautiful figure 8 and rock and roll we took when you first found your malasana. This one's for the spine, for the low back and the low belly. So as you take your little rock and roll, feel into some circles opening through the low back, pressing the mat away from you, pressing through the hands, pressing through the elbows, the forearms. One more breath, finding yourself in center. Let's take it across to the left. Same thing on the left. Extending the arms, take a walk, both hands off the left side of the mat, but allow the knees to remain nice and wide so you can feel the low belly and the rib cage on the left connecting inside that left thigh. Your right fingertips extend, tenting, and slide the left ones in. Inhale, create that space through the right side, and then exhale, sink down in planting that right hand into the mat and the palm. We press into the left fingertips to take that rotation. Now as you settle in here, you're welcome to stay. Otherwise, if you're exploring the bind, left fingertips to rise now to the sky, internal rotation at the shoulder, and find the drape of the arm and back of hand upon the low back. And press in here and deepen the twist, or explore that bind, creating the connection of left hand interlinked with the right thigh. Using that bind to deepen your twist. We stay 2 breaths. And if you're in a bind, release and take it to the sky. And find the mat and slowly feed your way back to center. And take a walk, elevating and finding yourself ever so slowly back to a hero pose. One final counter to close out before your Savasana. We're going to get out of these feet, out of these legs. Find tabletop. And your alignment from tabletop is the perfect position to progress you into your puppy pose. So your hips will be just above the knees, and you want to keep the hips exactly as is. As you slowly take a walk, now you can take this one down to the forearms as we did earlier in your Sphinx type shape and sink into the chest. Otherwise, stay in the hands and you'll be able to walk it a little further out. You'll find more space if your shoulders are quite open. Take the hands nice and wide. Hips staying in position above the knees. We sink the chest towards the mat, and you can rest the forehead upon the mat or take your chin and your gaze between your hands. Deep heart opener here. And as you hang in your variation of puppy pose. Heart opener and hip opener, and resetting for the spine. Finding that surrender with your heart drawing towards the earth. Recognizing and acknowledging that it was supporting you throughout your entire flow today. And my hope is that you remained and maintained that connection to the element of Prithvi as we worked along the mat, across the mat, off the mat. And the earth is healing and super restorative. Take your final breath in your puppy pose before we prepare to completely meet the earth, meet the element of Prithvi to find the ultimate restorative posture. Slowly draw to rise. Sink it back into your seat just as you transition, don't worry. Extend the legs. We're going to find ourselves finding the most restorative posture of all your Savasana. Yogis, take your heels nice and wide, just as wide as the mat. Open your palms, ready to receive this beautiful and closing posture, and unravel the spine ever so slowly, inviting one vertebra at a time to make that connection, to find that bond, that bind. Inviting the shoulder blades, inviting the back of the head, inviting the arms, and peeling it all open. Palms open, soles open, hips open, heart open. And your Savasana is your ultimate peak posture as well, in that this is where the fruits of your labor are found. And yogis, I invite you to stay in your Savasana for as long as you possibly can today. If you are time restricted, please feel free to come with me. Otherwise, hit pause now and stay. I'm going to slowly sweep the hands to interlace once more, this time supported by the earth as you open the palms towards the back of the room. And draw the big toes together to touch and point them towards the front of the room. I'm going to take that interlacing and find the back of the head. Drawing the chin towards the chest. And just as we found our spine upon the mat, we're going to be peeling to a seat. And from here, yogis, slide the legs to the soles of the feet until the soles of the feet both connect. 90-degree bend at both knees, and allowing your head to be cradled in the hands. Draw the chin into the chest, and then slowly drawing with all the same trust, ease, grace, and strength that the earth has provided you today. We draw to rise to find our seat. Elbows connecting to knees, hang the head nice and heavy, release the interlacing and find that little bit of pressure. A little bit of pressure to the back of the head. And take a tilt and find some gentle pressure. And draw the tilt to the other side, releasing and finding a little bit of pressure. And to create the opening and release through the spine. Let's draw to rise and open the knees, finding your Sukhasana, your easy cross leg. And take a roll of the neck in the cradle of your collarbones, your shoulders, the scapula. And with some movement brought back into the cervical spine from your seat, take an inhale, press in to the legs, into the knees. Find the arms elongated, the length of the spine. Drawing away from the earth, extending and the crown towards the sky. And when we look at a tree, we admire the beauty above the earth. The flowers, the branches, the leaves, the strong trunk, how tall it stands, how rich the color. But it's not often that we recognize that, and to have the strength and the courage to stand tall, to shine, and to look just as strong, to feel just as strong. To be just as strong. That strength comes from the earth, from the tree's roots. So as you root down into your seat, as you ground down and connect to the element of Prithvi beneath you, we recognize that with each posture, as we rise and flow freely above the mat, and the strength we gain and gather is all gifted to us from the element of Prithvi, the element of earth, pure Prithvi. Yogis, take your hands into prayer. We close out the practice, honoring that pure Prithvi beneath us. Thank you so much for sharing the element of earth with me today. Namaste.